Over the last 4 or 5 years, the family has increasingly been seen as the right place to start across a wide range of social policies, the wicked issues they're often called. There was the Respect Action Plan, the Families at Risk Review, and a paper from the Cabinet Office, Reaching Out, Think Families. All of these identified things going wrong in some families as the cause, at least in part, of many of the major symptoms of disadvantage, and also the place to start if we want to deal with them. The family intervention projects were born. And why is family intervention so important? Well, there's a number of reasons. Growing up in a family with multiple problems puts children at risk of problems later on. Families with multiple problems are a cost to public services and the wider community. Family problems can be transmitted from generation to generation. Damage to children can start to accumulate from a very early age, and it's important to tackle the causes at their roots through long-term investment rather than wait for later and more expensive crisis interventions when things go wrong later in life. Lisa Dada from Stoke City Council explains how their family intervention project works.
The family intervention project are different in that it's a whole family approach, it's a whole family assessment. So we do not go in and just assess a child, we don't go in and just assess an adult, we assess every single person within that immediate family and extended family who may have a significant input.
The first point is that individual workers only have a limited caseload.
So we then come back, allocate it to a lead worker who can only carry 5 cases. That's the total amount of cases they can take. But within those 5 cases, as I've just said, you're assessing every member of the family. And that may be 10, 15 people. So within that, you have to do a whole family assessment, which takes a long time if you've got a lot of different people that you're interviewing. There's a contract setting out the changes that we expect and that the family sign up to. Persistent and assertive working methods, including sanctions, effective multi-agency arrangements, evidence-based parenting programs. We train all our workers in parenting programs.
If all that fails, Lisa and her staff have access to accommodation they can use for really difficult families.
We have our own tenancies called FIT, Family Intervention Tenancies, and if a family is unable to leave the cycle of offending behaviour or persistent abuse, whatever is going on, because they can't get out of that neighbourhood, they're known as a drug dealing house or whatever it might be, they can be evicted from there and moved into one of our houses across the city.
Most referrals to family intervention projects are because of antisocial behaviour, but support workers then need to identify all the other issues that lead to the antisocial behaviour in the first place and help with solutions that often go well beyond. Eventually, of course, the aim is a stable job. Lindsay Hyde works at a family intervention project in Worcestershire.
A lot of the families we work with, there's intergenerational worklessness and lack of education, and what we try to do is work with the children around that and also with the parents, trying to encourage them to get back into some kind of education or some kind of training at least, to encourage them to start earning their own money and take away the benefits. Also, because of the prevention that we're trying to do in regard to working with the young people and children, it's trying to show them the benefits of getting a good education and learning at school.
Becky's family is being supported by the same project, and she explains how their help has set her on a journey back to employment.
The barriers to work are the children's behaviour. If you get a phone call from school saying we can't cope with your children, as I get most days, then you have to race off to go and get them, which customer research, which is only voluntary, and it's getting something behind you to put into place, like you get a reference for doing it. It's not too bad because at the end of the day, you have got children, you have got to race off. So voluntary work to start off with is much more of a help because it's starting to see the pattern, and once the children can see the pattern that you've always been at home and now you're going out and you're doing work, because I classify it as work to my children, I go out to work. Yeah. So they understand, like, we've got to behave at school today because mum is going to work and mummy needs this job, so we will start behaving at school.
The success of the family project very much depends on support from other agencies. Lindsay Hyde again.
The partners that we work with are very supportive of the project, and they actually help us to make the project what it is really. I mean, we have daily dealings with schools and children's services, youth offending teams, and also with the landlords that we work with. We've got very good communication and they liaise with us very well. And I think that if we didn't have the input of the other agencies working alongside us and supporting us, that perhaps we wouldn't be as effective as what we are.
And this kind of intervention can help the other agencies by preventing later problems and, crucially in the current climate, saving money.
I think because we very much work with families around different issues such as parenting, routines and boundaries, attendance, what we did is we obviously look at those issues and put them on a support plan, and we work with the other agencies and also with the parents in doing that. I think, and because we're very focused on the work that we're doing, it then leads on to the fact that we're saving costs because of this work that we're doing, and the family are very engaged with us because obviously they've got the enforcement hanging over them, but they also are requesting this support, that because we're putting this support in and we're so intensive with these families, that we're saving the costs, but also leading on to the preventative side, so that if there are younger siblings or other people within the area, they can see the work that we're doing and can also see the benefits from that.
Laurie O'Sullivan is a support worker with the Worcestershire Project. She sums up what she's learned from working on it.
Over the years, I've aspired to be non-judgmental for years, but I think when you're working with families that in depth and they're referred to you and it's written down on paper and you take a glance at it first, it looks like complete and total family breakdown. When you actually get in there, sometimes it's not, I'm not saying it's not on every case 100%, but on a lot of the times there's just a few links really that link everything in the family that maybe are a bit worn out, that need looking at in depth. Certain issues, things that have gone in the family that affected the family unit, and when you start looking at those and letting the family and allowing the family really to take a look at what's actually going on for them, you can make a lot of change.
Sharon is one of the people she works with and offers a testimony to the intensive support the project provides.
You've helped me with relationship-wise, bereavement, because I've recently lost a grandparent. She's been there for that. Anything the kids are worried about with at school, anything whatsoever. I could text Laurie and she'd be there. Anything whatsoever. I've got money worries, just let her know, she's there. Anything whatsoever to do with the kids, me, myself. If I'm having a bad day, I'll text and she'll say I'm on my way down. So, and she'll sit there, talk it all through relationship-wise, what's gone wrong, what shouldn't have happened, what should. And basically everything. Sit there, have a cup of coffee, chat. It's like having a sister sat there, basically.
You're fantastic.
So there seems to be something about working with the whole family that makes a real difference. Seeing the family as a system, encountering a set of services that are a system too. Active and dedicated support, which involves key workers in the lives of the whole family, is needed to make any lasting difference, either to life choices or experience of public services. There is no doubt that if you're working to make a difference to multi-generational problems of social and economic disadvantage, this is one of the approaches to consider.